Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In Genoa City, the air was thick as if the city itself was holding its breath and waiting for the truth to emerge. Everything changed in a single flash of fire, leaving behind a scene that is too grisly to describe. After weeks of unbearable tension, whispered accusations, and the relentless ticking of the clock, the once pristine exterior of the old cabin on the outskirts of town was now a twisted, blackened shell of itself. It was here, in the ashes and ruin, that investigators found what they believed to be the body of Carter Bryant, or at least what was left of it. The only issue? The corpse was so charred, so unrecognizable, that even the coroner hesitated to declare it officially his. The discovery caused Amanda Sinclair nothing short of an emotional tsunami, and it appeared to be freedom for Kane Ashby. Emotions had never been Amanda's strong suit. She was a woman of law, logic, and well-defined boundaries. However, when she was summoned to the scene by Detective Chance Chancellor, the news was delivered with the delicacy of a bomb going off, and even she was unable to keep the walls from falling down. "We've recovered a body," he had said, his rough voice barely concealing the fatigue and shock still clinging to his bones. "We believe it's Carter. However, it's bad." To maintain her balance, Amanda had to hold onto the cruiser's frame as her knees slightly buckled. Carter, the man who had haunted her dreams and turned her life upside down, might have died because of a fire that was so intense that it destroyed any remaining certainty. But Amanda knew something wasn't right in her gut. Carter was meticulous, calculated, always 3 moves ahead. His plan of escape did not include burning in a cabin. While the fire investigators, medical examiners, and forensic specialists combed through the wreckage for DNA, dental records, or any shred of certainty, Kane was taken off the suspect list. Due to Carter's skillfully planted evidence, he had been on the verge of being charged with accessory to murder just a week earlier. Carter had framed him for everything: the mysterious disappearances, the money laundering, even the death of the security guard at the Newman Ranch. However, with Carter's presumed demise, the investigation began to unravel at a rate no one expected. Previously missing surveillance footage miraculously reappeared. Witnesses who had been silent came forward. A secret recording on a backup drive in Carter's own laptop strengthened Kane's previously tenuous alibi. The cruel irony was that Carter had, without knowing it, freed Kane because of his arrogance. However, Kane was not at ease. Actually, no. He sat outside the hospital, where Amanda had gone to identify what little was left of the body, staring at the sky like it might give him answers. He reenacted every interaction with Carter, from the sly smile to the twisted threat. How did this come to be? Carter had been a genius, a manipulator, and a master of puppets. But dead? Before allowing another person to win, Carter was the kind of person who would fake his own death a dozen times. Kane's heart, though relieved, remained wrapped in barbed wire. He couldn't celebrate his freedom while Amanda's world crumbled. Amanda was a different tale. She felt that Carter's death, if it was indeed Carter, did not bring closure, only more disorder. Before discovering the twisted depths of his lies, she had once loved him deeply and recklessly. It turned out that the man she had defended in court, trusted with secrets, and even considered having a future with was a monster. And yet, part of her still clung to the image of the man she once knew, wondering when exactly he had morphed into the villain who torched lives for sport. Amanda realized how much peace of mind, clarity, justice, and closure Carter had taken away from her the day she entered the morgue to confirm the identity of the charred remains. Dr. Langston, the city's leading forensic pathologist, stood beside her as the sheet was drawn back. There was barely anything left to see, just fragments of bone, scraps of burned clothing, a single singed ring with the initials CB carved on the inside. Despite her best efforts to remain composed, Amanda took a deep breath with shaking hands. "Can you be certain it is him?" she asked, her voice empty. Dr. Langston shook his head. "Not without confirmation by DNA. We'll have to wait even then. There was a lot of heat. Everything has deteriorated." Numb, her mind already racing, Amanda nodded. That would have been known by Carter. He would have anticipated it. Back at the police station, Chance gathered the team. Along with the charred body, Amanda discovered a phone with a burnt-out burner and a pile of half-burnt documents, many of which were copies of Carter's private transactions, bank statements, and even a list of names that he had used in previous scams. Amanda mused grimly, a breadcrumb trail. But was it really an accident or was it just a performance? Ever the realist, Chance chose the latter. During a briefing, he said, "We've seen this before. The likes of Carter do not simply vanish. They destroy ties. Literally. This could be a double, a trick, or an attempt to confuse us. We proceed as though Carter is alive until we obtain DNA." Genoa City felt the shock of this declaration. For the Newmans, it reopened the wound Carter had inflicted when he infiltrated their corporate security system. For Lily Winters, it unearthed her own personal trauma, as she remembered Carter's attempt to abduct her sister's child under the pretense of protective custody. And for Amanda, it tore open a scar that had barely begun to heal. She spent a lot of her slumber going over old emails, bank accounts, and any other evidence that Carter might have left behind, a digital ghost that whispered just out of her reach. Her apartment became a command center, filled with photographs, red strings on corkboards, and maps marked with possible hideouts. Kane attempted to intervene after observing her obsession spiral. "Amanda, you can't keep doing this to yourself," Kane said one night, after finding her passed out over a pile of printouts. "Even if he's alive, chasing him will destroy you." Amanda looked up, her eyes bloodshot but defiant. "And what if I don't? If I stop? He wins. Again." Kane finally admitted, torn between his desire to safeguard her and his obligation to stop Carter. On the night of the fire, he had received a single line in an anonymous text: "The devil always dances in fire." It wasn't clear. It terrified me. Amanda distinctly recalled Carter's favorite phrase from their past. When Kane showed her the message, she gasped. "He's not dead," she whispered. "He wants us to believe that he is. He wants us to chase a corpse while he walks free." Their one and only clue came from a strange person. A private investigator Amanda had secretly hired months earlier to follow Carter's offshore accounts. The PI, a grizzled ex-cop named Ray Molloy, called one morning with news. He stated, there was a withdrawal from an account opened in Carter's name in Cayman. 2 days following the fire. Her heart slammed into Amanda's ribs. "He's alive," she said, voice like steel. "And he's making fun of us." The hunt resumed, this time on a personal level. Chance, Lily, and even Victor Newman, who offered resources from the private security wing of Newman Enterprises, formed an uneasy alliance with Amanda and Kane. With a cigar in hand and vengeful eyes, Victor had said, "I want that snake found. He made a fool of me." No one makes a fool of Victor Newman and lives to tell the tale. The team began dissecting Carter's last known contacts, travel patterns, and digital footprints. Every move he had made over the past 6 months came under scrutiny. They were unprepared for the terrifying image that emerged. This had been in the works by Carter for more than a year. The fire, the physique, the escape, design, not desperateness, was at work. As days turned to weeks, the city buzzed with speculation. There were rumors that Carter had undergone plastic surgery, that he had fled to Italy, and that he was hiding out in San Francisco as a tech entrepreneur. Each lead failed to produce anything. Until Amanda got a letter one day. Handwritten. No address for return, it simply read, "Stop digging. Or else you'll burn again." Kane wanted to call the police. Amanda wanted to make a pattern in the writing. But what neither of them expected was what came next. Another body. Burned. Identical to the first. Same sound. Same initials. This time, with the suicide note Carter Bryant written on it. 2 charred bodies. Carter won, no DNA. Amanda's head spun. It was a game of shadows now, and Carter was the master of the maze. Is it possible that he planted both bodies to muddle the waters? Was one of them real? Or was Carter himself sending in dummies while hiding in the very city he'd once vowed to destroy? The truth seemed further away than ever. However, Amanda did not give up. She told Kane one night, as they sat in the quiet darkness of his apartment with an unopened bottle of wine between them, "He stole my past, but he doesn't get to own my future." Kane nodded. "Then we carry on. We find him. We end this. Together." And far away, In a dimly lit cafe in Morocco, a man with freshly healed burns, a new passport, and eyes that had seen too much smiled quietly as he watched a live stream of Genoa City's evening news. The headline read, "Kane Ashby cleared, Amanda Sinclair shaken as second Carter body found." He sipped his coffee, burned lips curved into a grin, and he whispered to himself, "Let the next act begin." There was no peace in the days that followed the discovery of the second charred body. Instead, there were even more layers of unease and dread. The investigation had stalled, and even Chance's Chancellor, usually steadfast and driven, began to question reality. Two people. Both could not be destroyed. Both involved Carter. Yet, not a single definitive answer. Carter had vanished like smoke, leaving behind his signature of smoke. Amanda, meanwhile, found herself spiraling. She stood at her apartment window each night staring out into the darkness, questioning every encounter, every word, every lie. Carter had been the one person who understood her, who saw her fire, who spoke the same language of ambition and pain. And then he became her worst nightmare. Now, he was both dead and alive, Schrodinger's villain, existing in the uncertainty he had engineered. The law couldn't help her anymore. The system that she had dedicated her life to had failed her. Amanda had always fought with facts and logic, but Carter's rules forced her into a game of deception and chaos. Wasn't long before Amanda began to pull away from everyone. Her erratic working hours and reserved demeanor were noticed by her co-workers. Lily tried to reach out, texting late-night messages and dropping off coffee with sticky notes that read, "You are stronger than him." Kane began to worry as well. He made more frequent visits to Amanda's apartment, but she frequently refused to answer the door. When she did, she looked gaunt, like someone who hadn't slept in days. As if she were building her own Carter Museum of Madness, maps, timelines, results from facial recognition, and photos from years ago were now plastered on the walls of her house. Kane finally broke through one evening as thunder whipped overhead and rain fell on the city. He stood in Amanda's kitchen, soaked to the bone from the storm, staring at the crime board she had constructed. Photos of Carter, the two charred bodies, known aliases, bank transactions, and offshore accounts were joined by strings. A photograph that Amanda had never shown anyone was pinned in the middle of it all. A photo of Carter and her. Smiling. Young. "I'm in love." Kane slowly turned to face her. He stated, "You are not chasing a ghost. You're chasing a memory. One you were unable to bury." Although Amanda's voice remained steady, tears welled up in her eyes. "Kane, that memory killed people. All of us. Yours, Lily's, Nick's, and Nikki's. If I don't end this, he'll come back. He'll finish what he started the next time." A notification appeared on her laptop at that very instant. An anonymous account had sent an encrypted email. When Amanda read the subject line, "One truth deserves another," her heart rate sped up. The inside message was frightful. "One of my brothers was killed in the fire. However, not me. You are not finished. I, too, am not. Look beneath the vault. Geneva." Geneva. The screen caught Amanda's attention. Switzerland had been mentioned once by Carter. They had been running from a client's lawsuit during a sleepless night on the road many years ago. He'd joked about hiding money in a Swiss V. The folder contained surveillance photos of Carter taken over the past 10 years, all obtained through Newman Enterprises' extensive corporate espionage network. Several of the photos had timestamps placing Carter in Zurich and Geneva over a dozen times between 2018 and 2022. One picture of Carter with a bodyguard and a black pea coat and dark sunglasses was taken outside a quiet bank near the Rue de Rhône. Amanda was shaken to her core by the image. Not because of Carter, but because of the man beside him. It was the same man seen near the scene of the second burned body in Genoa City. Under false identities, Amanda and Kane arrived in Geneva. They obtained Mr. and Mrs. as fake identities with Victor's assistance. Morgan, American investors inquiring about opening a discreet vault for private estate holdings. But they weren't there to open a vault. They were there to break into one. The bank Carter used was discreet, wealthy, and no stranger to illegal dealings. However, they were not without flaws. Kane quickly took advantage of one of them by hacking into the bank's visitor logs with the assistance of Kevin Fisher in Genoa City. Carter had last accessed his vault 3 days after the cabin fire, according to the logs. Bingo, Kane muttered. He's alive. Amanda remained alert but composed. She felt it too. Carter wasn't just alive, he was watching them. She could feel it in every mirror they passed and in every rain-stained window's reflection. Carter's new stage was Geneva. Additionally, Amanda had just entered his spotlight. Amanda and Kane gained access to the vault with the assistance of a sympathetic banker named Elodie, who appeared to be aware that her employer had assisted criminals in laundering money for decades. They discovered a wall-mounted hard drive connected to a biometric lock, encrypted flash drives, passports with Carter's face disguised in various disguises, and the most disturbing item inside. It was opened by Amanda's fingerprints. Inside were files. Thousands of them. Emails. Voice memos, footage from surveillance. He had been watching her. For years. There were files labeled Sinclair_weakness, Ashby_betrayal, and Victor_blind spot. Each file was detailed, organized, like dossiers from an intelligence agency. But Amanda's stomach turned when she found a folder labeled Next Phase. Within it were schematics, blueprints of the Newman Enterprises headquarters, documents referencing a server room breach, references to the Vault event, and one final file with a chilling title, The Resurrection Protocol. Nothing was in the file. Deleted. Amanda stared at the blinking cursor in the empty file and understood. Carter's endgame wasn't just survival. It was a new start. Under a new name, with new access, and a new plan. Burning the old identity had been step one. Now, he wanted to become someone else. An untouchable individual. Kane's phone buzzed as they were leaving the bank. A new message. No figure. No trace. It's too late for you. The fire was just my beginning. Amanda looked up at the clock tower in the square as it chimed. She whispered, I'm not too late. I'm just getting started. They returned to their hotel to regroup, only to find the room trashed. Laptops were broken. Notebooks were taken. All of Amanda's wall maps have vanished. However, only one scorched envelope was left behind. A picture is inside. Amanda, asleep in the hotel bed. Taken just a few hours before. Amanda nearly gave out on her knees. He was here. Kane's face hardened. Then he just committed his final error. Back in Genoa City, chaos had already begun to ripple. The Newman server room, the one mentioned in the deleted file, had experienced a blackout. Files had been deleted. Accounts have been hacked. Victor was livid. He called Amanda immediately. He is attacking from within. You find him. Now. The pieces came together thanks to Kane and Amanda. Carter had staged a digital resurrection in addition to faking his death. By deleting his past, scattering his DNA evidence, and planting multiple corpses, he'd created a vacuum. A fresh start. Now, he was infiltrating Newman from the shadows, using their own infrastructure to rebuild himself. Amanda stood in the Geneva suite, breathing heavily, staring out the window at the rain. He's not trying to disappear, she said. He's trying to replace someone. Someone with power. Someone nearby. Kane's eyes got smaller. You think he's going after Victor? Amanda gave a head shake. No. I think he's already gone after Nick. Kane looked up. What's your point? A deepfake rendering of Nick Newman was pulled up from a file Amanda had managed to save from the Geneva hard drive when she opened her laptop. He's studying his voice. His demeanor. His speech patterns. He's planning to take over from within. To turn into Nick. Or someone similar to him. Kane sat down in shock. Jesus, Amanda, this is larger than we thought it would be. She grimly stated. Then we'll need more than each other.